Good morning, brethren. Welcome to another daily devotional. We're going to move on to Psalm 34 this morning. The background to this psalm is that it was written out of David's experience that we find recorded for us in 1 Samuel 21. He was on the run, living in exile in the land of the Philistines. And this was when he was exiled from Jerusalem because his life was in danger. And with a view to trying to preserve his own life, he feigned madness before the Philistine king, King Achish. Now, the psalm was written several years later as David reflected on that whole experience. It's good from time to time to take time out and look back on past experiences through which we have come and to reflect on how God dealt with us during those times, how he ministered to us and how he brought us through those experiences, especially if those experiences that we're thinking about were difficult and faith-testing experiences. That's essentially what David does here, and it leads him to write this psalm. The psalm opens with a personal affirmation and determination to praise God. No doubt this arose from the fact that God had come to David and ministered to him in the midst of his circumstances. He'd rescued him from the difficulties that he was facing, and he had preserved David. And as David thinks about that, he says, "I will bless the Lord at all times. His praise shall continually be in my mouth." Of course, it's very easy to bless God. It's very easy to praise God when things in life are going well for us. When we and our closest loved ones are enjoying good health and strength. When we have secure jobs that provide us with an income that enables us to meet all our financial responsibilities and even have access left at the end of the month. When our children are doing well, either in their education or later in their careers. When the grandchildren are all healthy and all well. When things in church are good and we're blessed greatly through our church connections. All of these things cause us to praise God. And it's not difficult to praise God when these things are happening. But of course, life isn't always like that. There are times in our lives when life is hard. There are times when health is bad, when we are going through really difficult times when it comes to our physical health. There are times when our finances are very tight, times when our children are proving to be very difficult, times when church is problematic. David makes the point that even in such times, we should be praising God. If we think about it, we can find plenty of reasons for praising God even in difficulties. You see, our praise is not circumstance-based. Our praise should be person-based. We bless and praise God first and foremost for who he is, not for what he gives. That's why in verse 2, David says, "My soul makes its boast in the Lord." Now, in the original Hebrew translation of this, in verse 2, that phrase, "in the Lord," is brought to the very beginning of the sentence. And that indicates that the writer wants to put the emphasis there. Of the Lord shall my soul make her boast. If our praise is determined by circumstances, then of course it will be up and down. There'll be times when we're not praising God. If it's determined by person and character of God, then it will be continual, because God does not change. Isn't it true that often we praise God for his gifts that he gives us, rather than praising God for who he is, the giver of every good gift? We should be praising God for who he is in and of himself, first and foremost. May we, like David, be people who can say in these opening 2 verses, I will bless the Lord at all times. His praise shall continually be in my mouth. In the Lord shall my soul boast. The humble will hear and be glad. Let us be people who praise our God. Have a great day.